Lola, Michael, and Joaquin Consuelos might be television royalty thanks to their parents Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, but that doesn't make them immune from awkward family moments. It turns out that the stars really are just like us, for better or worse. It's safe to say that as the children of celebrities, Kelly Ripa's 3 kids didn't have childhoods that would be considered typical by most. In that respect, one big element that the average child didn't have to contend with was the constant presence of paparazzi attempting to snap photos of them when they were out in public with their parents. During an interview on her mom's podcast, Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa, Lola Consuelos recalled paparazzi being a constant presence in her childhood. However, she said she never considered it to be that big of a deal. She explained, "I was very aware of it, but you always told us something else. Like when you'd pick us up when we'd walk home from school, I'd be like, there's people taking photos of us, and you'd be like, they're taking photos of the birds." Even as a little kid, Lola admitted that she never bought her mom's explanation, but eventually came to realize that because her parents consciously didn't draw attention to the photographers, she and her brothers were able to mostly ignore them. According to Ripa, the paparazzi were an unfortunate fact of life that they were all forced to deal with. She told her daughter, "You were born at a time when the tabloid press was really hard on me, and therefore, they were hard on you guys too." There's no way to sugarcoat this. Lola Consuelos has accidentally walked in on her parents getting, well, intimate. As Kelly Ripa herself admitted in both an episode of her podcast and alongside her husband on Live. Even more unfortunately, this has happened multiple times.
So she opens the door and we see the door open and we're like, all right, close the door.
Yeah, we both say, no,
what are you doing?
I'm being resuscitated.
So, Lola got in the habit of issuing a comedic warning whenever her mom and dad prepared to embark on a romantic vacation together, since the first incident took place on a prior vacation to Italy. During a 2023 episode of her Let's Talk Off Camera podcast, Ripa revealed, "What's so funny is every time I go away now, my daughter is like, 'Don't get pregnant,' which is very funny because my daughter is so provocative." Ripa also shared the response she tends to give her daughter after receiving that particular tidbit of cautionary advice. "I was like, yeah, don't worry. Don't you get pregnant. How about that?" Kelly may have laughed off her daughter's vacation warnings, but she's also well aware that there's a big kernel of truth lurking beneath the surface. She admitted, "You gotta be careful with those away trips. That's how babies are made." Parents will often check out the social media posts of their kids in order to get a glimpse at what they're up to when there's an absence of parental supervision. That's not the case for Kelly Ripa, though. As she revealed in an interview with E! News in 2023, she said, "I'm pretty sure they've blocked us. When you have a news feed and it says, suggest more, suggest this, like this, or block this channel, I'm certain they have blocked any channel with any mention of our names. Just like they block us on social media. They block us any way they can." In fact, Ripa is pretty certain that her kids aren't following her or husband Mark Consuelos on their respective social media accounts, and she joked that they may not even know that the couple began hosting Live together. She admitted, "They don't really pay attention to what we're doing. They're just happy that mom and dad are finding ways to pass the time since they've left the house." Kelly Ripa's oldest son, Michael Consuelos, graduated college in 2020 in the midst of a tough job market and a worldwide pandemic. That, Ripa explained during a 2022 episode of Live with Kelly and Ryan, impacted the plans that were in place for him after graduation. She said, "I know that Michael graduated college in May of 2020 and he had a writing job lined up, which evaporated because the pandemic shut down the production and it just never came back."
We gave him a grace period of an additional year to find other job opportunities because it's hard.
That said, Ripa also explained why she and husband Mark Consuelos remained adamant that their kids be gainfully employed after graduating college, and that living with mom and dad for years after that is simply not going to happen. She said, "Because we were married at 25, you know what I mean? And we feel like because we didn't have safety nets, we got something cooking." The 3 children of Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos are no longer kids. All 3 are now grown adults with partners of their own. That came into play when the couple were joined by their kids for a vacation in late 2023, which they discussed during a January 2024 episode of Live with Kelly and Mark. As Consuelos pointed out, each of their kids brought along their significant others. While Mark originally suggested it was weird, He ultimately admitted that it was great and that their kids appeared to have excellent taste when it comes to choosing partners. Kelly, however, said she wasn't entirely certain that the whole thing would work out as well as it did. She claimed, "We didn't know how it was going to go, you know what I mean? You just don't know. Everybody seems nice when you have dinner with them, but how's it going to go?" In the end, though, she confirmed it all went swimmingly, gushing that, quote, "It was so nice." When Mark Consuelos joined Kelly Ripa as guest host of a 2022 episode of Live with Kelly and Ryan, they confirmed that their children found them utterly disgusting. The reason, Ripa explained, was because of their parents' eating habits.
Our kids get very grossed out by us in general, but especially when we're eating, they are sickened by us.
Consuelos conceded that he had noticed the criticism the kids offered toward her eating habits, but offered an explanation.
You have a very interesting way of eating food.
Consuelos then went on to describe his wife's very specific method of picking up food with her hands and then stuffing it into her mouth, offering viewers a vivid demonstration that certainly allowed an understanding of their kids' point of view. He joked,
You stick all three fingers, the tips of all three fingers, into your mouth.